One Hit Wonder Disco. Do you remember when this song took the world by storm? Or when this one made us forget all our troubles? Both have something in common. They made their artists shine, even if just for a fleeting moment, cementing their place in history as one-hit wonders of the grooviest genre ever. Today, we're taking a trip back to the 1970s, when the dance floor glowed under spinning lights, and every disco song had the power to make us forget the world for a few minutes. 12. Ring My Bell by Anita Ward. In the late 1970s, the world was still basking in the glow of mirror balls, and every nightclub pulsed with freedom, glitz, and fun, moving to the beat of a simple schoolteacher from Memphis. Anita Ward. Ring My Bell was her introduction to the world, an instant hit that exploded in a big way. Its simple melody, her smooth voice, and that rhythm that seemed to pulse with neon lights hooked us right away. But behind that shine was a wild story. Anita wasn't aiming to be a disco star. She was a teacher who sang in church. When she recorded Ring My Bell, it was almost by chance, stepping in for another artist. The song shot her to #1 in the United States and beyond. But that rise was as fast as it was short-lived. She never matched that success again. Still, at every wedding, every retro party, that bell rings. And when it does, it takes us back to the summer of 1979 when anything seemed possible. Before we go on, we'd love to know, what's your name and how old are you? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep going. 11. Knock on Wood by Amii Stewart. A year earlier, another young woman, Amii Stewart, barely in her early 20s, took an old soul song and turned it into a disco anthem just for us. Her version of Knock on Wood had been recorded back in the 1960s, but Stewart made it a bolt of lightning on the dance floor. Nightclubs back then were like temples, and this song was a sacred moment on that dance floor. With her voice, Amii didn't just get us dancing, she made our whole generation feel unstoppable. The crazy thing? Like Anita Ward, Amii Stewart couldn't recreate that same magic on the same scale. She had the voice, the charisma, but the crowd, always hungry for the next big thing, moved on to new sounds. Yet every time Knock on Wood plays, we feel that same rush as back then, a time when everything seemed simpler. It was an era when every new song felt like it promised an endless summer. Subscribe to the channel if you've ever danced to a disco tune. Boogie Oogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey. It was 1978. And two women decided to change the course of disco forever. Janice Marie Johnson and Hazel Payne, fronting A Taste of Honey, didn't just sing, they played instruments and led their own band. In a music world ruled by guys, that was a bold move, but also a sign the world was changing for the better. Boogie Oogie Oogie was born one night when the band played to a crowd that wouldn't dance. Frustrated, Janice and Hazel vowed to write a song so irresistible no one could stay seated, and they nailed it. The song became a disco funk icon, a killer bass line, rhythmic guitars, and a call to dance that's still impossible to resist today. It climbed the charts and even snagged them a Grammy for Best New Artist. But like so many music stories, the massive success didn't repeat. Still, the image of those two women owning the stage, leading their band, and electrifying the crowd became a beacon. For many young women in the late 1970s, it was a spark to make music or just live life on their terms. Maybe you remember that feeling, being at a party when Boogie Oogie Oogie started spinning on the turntable and watching everyone move to the beat. It was pure joy, no cynicism, no irony, just music and motion. 9. Come to Me by France Joli. Can you imagine standing in front of thousands at just 16 years old, performing the song that would change your life? It sounds like a movie, but that's the story of France Joli, who performed Come to Me in front of all of New York, a song that would define her forever. The story behind it is straight out of Hollywood. Donna Summer canceled her gig at the Fire Island Disco Beach Party, and at the last minute, they called young France to fill in. She stepped onto the stage in a white dress, singing to a crowd that didn't know her at first, but ended up giving her a standing ovation. That night, a classic was born. Soon, Come to Me shot up the charts, becoming a summer hit that blended innocence and sensuality, soundtracking that golden year. But transitioning from teen star to adult career was tough, and France never hit that same level of fame again. Still, that song is etched in our memories. 8. Two of Hearts by Stacey Q. This is one of those songs that hits like a neon flash and leaves a mark you can't erase. In the mid-1980s, as disco started blending with synths and dance beats, Stacey Q burst onto the scene with Two of Hearts, a track that brought back our best days on the dance floor. Stacey, a California girl with blonde hair and a futuristic vibe, became an instant icon on TV and radio. Her song was everywhere: clubs, radio stations, house parties. But behind that upbeat rhythm was a crazy story. Stacey wasn't exactly new to the game. She'd been a dancer and singer in smaller groups, and Two of Hearts was her ticket to fame, even if that fame was short-lived. Though Stacey Q couldn't replicate that same impact with another hit, she left behind an unmistakable echo that reminds us of a time when everything felt faster but still held on to the innocence of dance. What's your favorite disco song? Drop it in the comments. 7. Funkytown by Lips Incorporated. 1980 marked both a farewell and a rebirth for dance music. Lips Incorporated, a project born in Minneapolis, dropped Funkytown, and suddenly everyone wanted to move to that imaginary city of rhythm and lights. It was disco with a futuristic edge, almost heralding the arrival of the 1980s. Behind the voice we all remember was Cynthia Johnson, a singer with gospel roots who switched gears to record this classic. The song rocketed up the charts in weeks and became one of the top-selling singles of that year. Its rhythm was an invitation to escape, to leave the daily grind behind and step onto a dance floor where no one knew you, but everyone danced the same. Funny thing is, Lips Incorporated was really just a studio group, not a traditional band, and after Funkytown, their other singles didn't go as far. Still, their song became an anthem for the end of the disco era and the start of something new. 6. Born to Be Alive by Patrick Hernandez. Europe brought its own spark to the disco craze thanks to a name etched in music history: Patrick Hernandez, a Frenchman with a bohemian vibe and a slick mustache, who dropped Born to Be Alive and conquered his continent and ours. It was a time when clubs in Paris, London, New York, and Buenos Aires shared the same nightlife energy, united by bass lines and dazzling arrangements. The song felt like a manifesto. We were born to be alive, to dance, to live it up, and people took it to heart. Born to Be Alive sold millions and played everywhere, from swanky clubs to impromptu garage parties. After that massive hit, Patrick Hernandez kept recording, but nothing matched that shine. Still, every time that chorus hits, it pulls us back to a youth full of promises and endless nights. Maybe you danced to this one too, losing track of time, swept up in the moment's euphoria. 5. No Parking on the Dance Floor by Midnight Star. We step into the 1980s with one foot in funk and the other in synths. In 1983, Midnight Star dropped No Parking on the Dance Floor, blending the best of both worlds and lighting up dance floors with a clear message: you don't come here to stand still, you come to move. Midnight Star wasn't new to the scene. Hailing from Kentucky, they'd worked hard to hone their sound, mixing funk, R&B, and a touch of electronic that hinted at the future. No Parking on the Dance Floor was their masterpiece, a hit in clubs and on urban radio, bridging the last glow of disco and the rise of 1980s dance music. Here's the kicker. Despite their infectious energy and top-notch musicians, Midnight Star never had another hit this big. But they influenced a generation of producers and DJs who later gave them props for their impact. 4. Shame by Evelyn Champagne King. Bet that melody takes you right to your favorite dance floor. In the middle of the disco fever, a 17-year-old named Evelyn Champagne King slipped into the decade's biggest names almost by accident. She was cleaning offices at a Philadelphia recording studio when a producer overheard her singing in a hallway. That's how Shame was born. The song was a whirlwind of rhythm and emotion. It played in clubs, on radios, at house parties. Believe it or not, Shame was recorded in one take, like Evelyn was singing live to an invisible crowd. That raw energy made it a true disco hit. Time passed, and Evelyn had other songs, but none matched Shame's fire. It was the voice of a young generation, full of hope and boldness, believing the future could dance to the same beat. Even now, when it plays, you feel that tingle, that urge to move, even if we're not so young anymore. Subscribe to the channel if you want us to dive into the one-hit wonders of your favorite decade. 3. Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn. A year later, in 1978, another female voice burst through with an energy that blew the speakers away. Cheryl Lynn dropped Got to Be Real and, without knowing it, created the disco song of the year and a favorite for many. The wild part? Cheryl shot to fame singing on a TV talent show, with no big contracts or flashy promos. It was all voice and presence, making the song feel even purer. Got to Be Real wasn't just a song, it was a statement. Its mix of joy and confidence made listeners feel bolder, freer. In clubs, discos, and even family parties, this track became a unifying ritual. Cheryl kept recording, but her debut remained her career's peak. That song still pops up in movies, shows, and compilations. Maybe you tie it to a specific moment to summer, a romance, or a night that felt endless, where everyone was smiling. That was the magic of an era when disco was the soundtrack of our lives. 2. In My House by Mary Jane Girls. Now let's jump to 1985. when disco's fever had officially cooled, but a female group brought it back from the ashes with a modern twist that hit us with nostalgia. The Mary Jane Girls, formed under Rick James's guidance, dropped In My House and proved there was still room for dance and sensuality. In My House felt bold, with an infectious rhythm and an attitude that mixed innocence with a touch of mischief. You couldn't help but think back to your best years watching that magical music video on TV. The Mary Jane Girls were seen as heirs to 1970s funk, but with 1980s hair and outfits. Though they had a few singles, In My House was their biggest hit, putting them on the global map. As often happens, the industry shifted and the group disbanded, but every time that song plays, you can picture the colored lights in clubs and feel like you're back in a time when everything felt new. 1. Fly, Robin, Fly by Silver Convention. We close this fun journey in Europe, a place that gave so much to this amazing genre. From Germany, a female trio flipped everything upside down with Fly, Robin, Fly, the crown jewel of Silver Convention. The song was different, minimal lyrics, tons of rhythm, and orchestral strings that seemed to soar with the melody. The track hit #1 in the United States, unheard of for a European group like them. Its hypnotic repetition became a dance floor mantra. Back then, it was a symbol of how disco had taken over everything. But like the others, Silver Convention couldn't match that impact again. Their style defined an era, but stayed locked in that unforgettable single. Still, that melody had something that made you close your eyes and let go, and today, it's pure nostalgia. And that's the end of our journey. We'll leave you with a video of another list of old school songs if you want to keep reliving the nostalgia of those days. Catch you next time.